So Nicolas, thank you very much for inviting us here today to your atelier. And I know that you're working on some pieces that we're going to see. I really like your work, and I really like the techniques that you use. And I see here in your atelier you have a lot of these egg purses, and you're inspired by the bees. Yeah. Can you talk about your inspiration about the bees?
Yeah, these two last collections have been very inspired by this fact of news, like bees are very important for the environment, you know. And more and more we are destroying it, so I wanted to put a big point on it, like we have to save the bees. So I'm working on all the bee species, and I inspired from one bee. One face of the bee is a male bee, and I inspired from it to make the shapes of all my bags. And also the bee eggs, which would become maybe a clutch, maybe a purse, maybe a backpack, maybe a bag. You don't know because it's an egg. So until it gets born, you don't know what it's inside.
And also your apple bracelets, you are enticed by the apples as well. Can you talk about your apple bracelets?
Apple design is the first I made to my first collection. It's the same inspiration to all my collection is the nature. The idea for the apple is like the bee, is like nature is precious. It just depends what you do with it. If you throw an apple on the ground, it will just make dust. If you throw it on earth, it would make a tree. So everything is precious, depends what you do. Apple is like a symbol for take care about nature, and also the temptation of destroying, making love, recycling. It's just about the human fact today. Yeah.
But you know, when Eve ate the apple, she was really in trouble, no?
Yeah, I guess, but was not only the apple for this, was also the snake was responsible for this. That's why I make apple with snakes together. It's like a big mix, and I guess troubles comes with it for a reason. Yeah.
Can you talk about the egg purses and the materials that you're using?
Yeah, egg purses, like almost all the clutch I do, and the bracelets too, is all handmade here. We use a 3D printed technique, so we 3D design it, we 3D print here in the atelier, and then with different materials, we cover it, we spray, we polish, and we cover it with leathers to make it more strong. And then we make all the finishing with leather is handmade. And then we add some metallic parts, and then there is another finishing part, which is to adapt the shape to the owner's wrist or the bag. You can change a little bit the plastic shape with heat or different techniques. Yeah.
And you told me about this one of the apple bracelets that was made from the elbow of a crocodile.
Yeah, all the apple bracelet in crocodile are made from the elbows because it's a spare part from the crocodile. Normally we don't use it because it's very sick. You cannot sew it properly. That's why it's not sew for the apple. It's just covered with a special gainage way, you know. And the shape of the elbow is already in form of a bow. So it really suits perfectly to make the apple. It's almost like made to do the apple. And for sure it's recycling the material, which is very precious. So today I'm finishing one part of the backpack, is the straps. I have to make them a bit longer for a client which is wants to wear with a fur coat. So it has to be a bit longer than what I make usually.
Nicolas, it was so wonderful to see your work here and your work with the bees, with the apples, and the sense of being ecological and friendly to the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you and your team, coming very interested about this bee collection and the nature, and the fact I use natural materials, and respectful of the idea of the environment, the bees, the apple, the sharks, whatever. And I will continue this way for a long time.
That's the bee.
That's the bee face.